Terran sat alone in his mining pod, floating near the cold rings of Saturn. The stars above him were still, and only the soft hum of machines kept him company. His shift was nearly over, and he was ready to return to the orbital station. He wiped sweat from his forehead and reached for the comms panel. Just as he did, a warning light flashed red. The system had picked up something strange. Unknown signal detected, the pod's AI said. Source, deep space, format, non-human. Terran leaned forward. He was a simple miner, not a scientist or soldier. Strange signals were for experts back on Earth. He pressed a few keys, recorded the transmission, and sent it to the station. But then something strange happened. A second signal came through. This time, it was clear. It was a voice. Terran. The voice was soft, calm, and not human. Yet it spoke his name clearly. He froze. No one outside the station knew he was here. The signal wasn't from Earth. It was coming from far beyond Saturn. He played the recording again. Terran, you are the one. The words sent a chill down his spine. The AI couldn't trace the full signal path. It was hidden, bouncing between points in space. The station called him. Control to Terran. We received your data. Return immediately. Earth Command is taking over. He nodded. Though his hands were shaking, he turned the pod and flew back to the station. But in the back of his mind, the voice echoed. You are the one. Back at the station, Earth Command officers were already waiting. 3 of them wore black suits with silver emblems. One of them, a tall man with sharp eyes, looked at Terran. You received the signal first? Terran nodded. Yes, it called my name. The officer raised an eyebrow. And you didn't respond? I didn't know how. The officer handed Terran a small device. If it calls again, press this. Do not speak. Do not answer. Understood. Terran agreed. But he had questions. Why him? Why would an alien signal use his name? The officers gave no answers. They said nothing more. Terran was told to return to his quarters and stay inside. That night, as he lay in bed, the signal returned. This time, it didn't come through the comms system. It was in his mind. He saw stars spinning, colors he could not describe, and then eyes. Bright green eyes looking into his soul. You are the one I must find, the voice said again. Do not be afraid. Terran woke with a jolt. His room was dark, silent, but his heart was racing. Before he could report the vision, alarms began to ring across the station. Unidentified ship approaching. All personnel to secure positions. TAREN ran to the window. Out in the black, a ship hovered near the station. It was smooth, silent, shaped like a great silver wing. No lights, no engines. It had appeared without warning. The officers from Earth Command rushed in. One grabbed Terran by the arm. They are here for you. We must hide you. Terran pulled away. You knew they were coming. The officer didn't answer. Instead, a light from the alien ship touched the station's hull. A soft glow passed through the metal. Terran felt something reach inside his mind. The voice returned. Stronger this time. Terran, come. He stepped forward. The officers raised their weapons. But before they could move, the light wrapped around Terran and pulled him gently into the air. In seconds, he was gone. Terran opened his eyes inside a chamber unlike anything built by human hands. The walls shimmered like water. Strange symbols floated in the air. He was standing on a smooth floor that felt like stone, but glowed beneath his feet. Before him stood a figure. She was tall, with long silver hair that moved like wind. Her skin was a soft, pale blue, and her eyes were green like emeralds. She wore a flowing robe covered in glowing patterns. She looked at him as if she had known him forever. I am Nerea, she said, Queen of the Vesari. You are the one I was meant to find. Terran stared at her. He didn't know what to say. Why? Me? She stepped closer. Her voice was calm, but there was something heavy behind it. Our stars are dying. Our world is fading. Long ago, we sent part of ourselves into the stars, hoping it would find a home. Your world, your kind, you. He shook his head. I'm just a miner. You are more, she said. Inside you is the key to survival. Not only for us, Perhaps for both our people. Terran didn't know what to believe. But as he looked into her eyes, something deep inside him stirred, a feeling he could not explain. You came all this way for me, she nodded. I dreamed of you, even before I was born. He took a breath. The silence between them felt full, not empty. Then the ship trembled. Lights flashed red. The humans are following, Nerea said. They think we have taken you. They did not understand. Terran looked at her. Then help me explain. Nerea touched a panel, and a window opened in the wall, showing the stars in the distance. Human ships were approaching fast. We must choose, she said. Stay and talk, or run and survive. Terran didn't know the answer, but deep down, he knew this was only the beginning. The stars outside the alien ship blinked as human warships came closer. Their engines burned like blue fire in the dark. Terran stood beside Queen Nerea, watching the ships approach. His heart beat fast, but Nerea looked calm. They will fire if we don't answer, Terran said. Nerea nodded slowly. They do not trust what they do not understand. She walked across the glowing floor and touched a curved wall. A panel lit up with symbols. A moment later, a screen appeared. On it, Terran saw the face of a human commander. He wore a heavy gray uniform and had sharp eyes. This is Captain Ryler of Earth Command. The man said, return the civilian at once. You are surrounded. Terran stepped forward. But Nerea raised her hand. Let me speak, she whispered. She faced the screen. This human is not your prisoner. He is our guest. We will not harm him. Captain Ryler's face stayed cold. We are not here to speak. Release him now or prepare to be boarded. The screen turned off. Ian looked at Nerea. They won't listen. I know, she said. But you are not ready to return yet. He stepped back. What do you mean? Nerea led him through a glowing hallway filled with strange symbols and lights. They reached a room with a round mirror in the center. The mirror was not made of glass. It moved like water and reflected not just faces, but something deeper. This is the mirror of memory, Nerea said. It shows not what you are, but what you carry inside. Terran looked into the mirror. At first, he saw only his face. Then it changed. He saw a city floating above clouds. He saw tall beings with silver skin, walking through halls of light. He saw a man who looked like him but different standing beside a younger Nerea. Terran stepped back. Is that me? Nerea nodded. That was your soul. Long ago, before your world was born, you lived once among us. You were a guardian, a voice of peace. Terran shook his head. I don't remember any of this. You were not meant to, she said. Not until the time came. Now it is here. Terran sat down, trying to understand. He was just a miner. He had no power, no training, no great purpose. Yet this alien queen said he carried something inside him. A past, a key. What do you want from me? He asked. Nerea knelt beside him. Not what I want. What we need. Our people are changing. Our lifeblood is failing. Our memory is fading. You are the connection. Your body holds the pattern we lost. The bridge between two broken paths. Terran looked at his hands. They felt the same. Nothing had changed. But deep inside, something was waking up. He felt like he had seen her eyes before. Not just in the mirror, but in dreams he had forgotten. Before he could speak again, the ship shook. Red light flashed across the walls. A voice spoke from above. Human ships are locking weapons. Impact in 20 seconds. Nerea stood quickly. They have made their choice. Terran grabbed her arm. We have to stop them. They think you kidnapped me. If I speak to them, maybe they will listen. She hesitated. You are not ready. Your voice may not be enough. I have to try, he said. Let me send a message. She nodded. They returned to the control room. Nerea opened a channel. Terran stood before the screen as the human fleet drew closer. This is Terran, he said. I am safe. The Vesari have not harmed me. I came with them because I chose to. I ask you not to fire. There was silence. Then Captain Ryler's voice returned. We do not take orders from miners. You are compromised. We will bring you back by force. Nerea turned to him. We must leave. The ship turned sharply and sped away from the human fleet. Light bent round them as the engines opened a path through space. The stars blurred, and in seconds, they were gone. They arrived at a hidden place, a quiet world with no cities. Only crystal mountains and glowing lakes. Nerea called it the Forgotten Moon. No human had ever seen it before. This place was once a temple, she said. Now it is only memory. Terrence stepped out onto the surface. The air was warm and filled with soft light. He looked up and saw twin moons hanging above. "This is beautiful," he said. Nerea looked at him with soft eyes. "It was here that our first queen dreamed of peace. And it was here that you once stood beside her." Terran looked at her. "You really believe I'm the same person?" She nodded. "I do not need belief. I remember." They walked together to a stone circle, surrounded by crystal trees. In the center was a pool of water. Nerea touched it, and a soft hum filled the air. "This place will help you remember more," she said. "Not just with the mind, but with the soul." Terran knelt beside the pool. He touched the water. It felt warm and alive. In his mind, a voice whispered, "You walked here once. You made a promise. Now you must keep it." He looked at Nerea. Her eyes were wet, but she smiled. "Even after all this time, I still knew you," she said. "You are not just hope. You are home." Terran felt a strange warmth in his chest. He didn't understand everything yet, but something had started, a bond he could not deny. He took her hand. "Then show me the rest." Nerea smiled. The stars above shone brighter, but far behind them, the human fleet was still searching, and others in the Vesari court were beginning to ask dangerous questions. The air on the Forgotten Moon felt different. It was calm, soft, and full of memories. Terran walked beside Nerea through the glowing trees. He felt as if he had been here before, even though his mind told him it was his first time. They reached a tall structure made of smooth white stone. It had no door, just an opening that shimmered with light. Nerea stopped in front of it. "This is the court chamber," she said. "It holds the answers you need." Terran looked at her. "What kind of answers?" She placed a hand on the glowing wall. "The truth about who you are and what lives inside you." Inside the chamber, the walls glowed like crystal. Strange shapes moved slowly in the air. In the center was a raised platform with thin silver strands reaching out from it. Nerea motioned for him to step forward. "This will scan your life pattern," she explained. "It will read your blood, your cells, and your memory. Then it will show us the truth." Terran nodded. He stepped onto the platform and stood still. As the strands of light moved toward him, they touched his arms, his chest, his face. He felt no pain, only a strange warmth. Then the chamber filled with images. He saw to worlds Earth and the Vesari homeworld. He saw maps, symbols, and flowing lines of energy connecting the two. He saw DNA spirals turning and twisting. In one of them, he saw something shocking. Part of his human code matched the Vesari pattern. He turned to Nerea. "This is real. I carry your people's blood." Nerea nodded slowly. "Long ago, our ancestors knew we were changing. Our strength was fading. So they sent seeds into the stars, tiny pieces of our life code. We hoped that one day, one of those seeds would become something strong. Someone who could help us heal. And I'm that seed," Terran said. "You are the result." She said gently, "Your body carries the full pattern we lost. It is not just a match. It is a bridge between us." Terran tried to understand. He had always felt different, like something was missing. Now he knew why. "This is why you came for me," he said. Nerea stepped closer. "Yes, but not just because of your blood, because of your spirit. You are the same soul that once stood with our first queen. That memory is still alive, and it called me to you." Terran sat down slowly. "But what do we do now?" Earth thinks. "You took me. They think you're the enemy." Nerea looked away for a moment. "There's more." She touched a panel, and the images changed. A new pattern appeared, dark, broken, and unstable. It pulsed with red light. "This is what is happening to our people now," she said. "Our children are not being born healthy. Our minds are becoming weaker. If this continues, the Vesari will not survive." Terran stood up. "And you think I can fix this?" "Not alone," she said. "But with your help, we can build a cure." A bond between human and Vesari life. One that could save us. Terran looked at the screen. The broken pattern shifted when his DNA was added. The lines smoothed out. The red turned to blue. It was working. But Earth won't trust you, he said. They'll think this is some kind of trap. Nerea lowered her voice. We must show them the truth. But someone does not want that to happen. Far away, deep in the Vesari homeworld, a tall figure stood in a dark hall. His name was Salek, and he was one of the high speakers of the Vesari court. He watched the stars on a large screen as his advisors gave him news. The queen has gone. To the Forgotten Moon, one said. She took the human with her. Another added. Salek frowned. That human should have been brought to us, not hidden like a secret. Some say he carries the old blood. The first advisor whispered. Salek's eyes narrowed. Even more reason to control him? He turned to the others. Prepare a message. Send it to the humans. Tell them the queen is using the human for her own power. Make them believe she is planning an invasion. His voice was calm, but cold. We will make Earth turn against her. And when they do, she will fall on the Forgotten Moon. Terran sat beside a quiet lake. Nerea stood behind him. I don't understand something, he said. You are a queen. Why do your people not follow you? She sat beside him. Because they fear change. And because I care too much for peace. She looked into the water. Her reflection shimmered. Some in the court want power. Others want war. They think humans are a threat. But I see hope in you. Terran watched the stars above. I want to help, but I don't know how to stop two worlds from fighting. You already began, she said, by listening, by choosing peace when others chose fear. He smiled faintly, then a soft sound filled the air. A small drone flew above the lake and dropped a device into the water. It flashed once and sank. What was that? Terran asked, standing quickly. Nerea looked concerned. A message beacon from the court. She reached into the water and pulled it out. The device showed a signal being sent to Earth. She read the message. Her face grew pale. They lied. She said, they told Earth we plan to use you to spread a virus. They said I am building a weapon. Terran's eyes widened. They want Earth to attack you. They want war, she said. He stood up. Then we need to stop it. We need to go to Earth. I need to speak to them face to face. She looked at him with worry. They will not trust you. I don't care, he said. If I can stop a war, I'll take the risk. Nerea stood beside him. Then we go. Together. And we show them the truth. As the stars above shimmered, the choice was made. But others were already moving. And soon, the stars would burn with fire. Terran stood on the deck of the Vesari ship beside Queen Nerea. The Forgotten Moon had faded behind them. Ahead, the stars stretched like rivers of light. They were on their way to the edge of Earth-controlled space. The ship moved silently, faster than any human craft. Inside, everything felt calm, but Terran could sense tension growing. Nerea stood near the front window, watching the stars with steady eyes. Do you think they'll listen? He asked. I do not know, she said softly. But we have to try. The message beacon had revealed the truth. High Speaker Salek and his allies had sent false warnings to Earth. They wanted the humans to see Nerea as a threat. If war began, Salek could take her place and lead the Vesari into a new age of power. Terran clenched his fists. They don't care who gets hurt. They just want control. Yes, Nerea replied. But power without wisdom destroys everything. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the ship. Vesari fleet detected. Incoming transmission from the royal flagship. Nerea turned. That's Salek's ship. The screen lit up. Salek's face appeared. His silver skin was smooth, his eyes dark and cold. Nerea, he said with a slight bow. You have left the sacred lands without permission. You carry the human who holds the old blood. Return now. Nerea stood tall. You sent lies to the humans. You tried to start a war. Salek smiled. Peace is weakness. The humans are. Not our friends. You are blinded by dreams. I am guided by hope, she said. And the truth. Salek's smile faded. Then you leave me no choice. The screen went black. Seconds later, alarms rang out across the ship. Missiles locked. 5 Asari ships approaching. Terran stepped forward. Your own people are trying to destroy you. Yes, Nerea said calmly, but I will not return fire. I will not be the first to start a war. Terran stared at her. We'll be destroyed. She looked at him with gentle eyes. If I must fall to stop a greater war, then I will fall. The ship shook as the first missile struck its shields. The lights flickered. The crew moved quickly, guiding the ship through narrow gaps between asteroids. Tare and looked at the screen. A human fleet was also drawing near. Earth Command had arrived to stop what they believed was a threat. To fleets, he whispered. Both sides ready to fight, and were trapped in the middle. Nerea moved to the center console. She placed her hand on a glowing panel. We will send a final message, she said. Not with words, but with memory. Terran looked confused. What do you mean? There is a way to share what we've seen, what we've learned. A direct link from mind to mind. But it is dangerous. I'll do it, he said without pause. If there's a chance to stop this, I'll take it. She reached out and touched his hand. A warm light spread between them. Then we share everything. On Earth Command's flagship, Captain Ryler stood on the bridge. His eyes were fixed on the screen, which showed Nerea's ship floating between two fleets, target locked. His officer said. Ryler raised a hand. Wait. Suddenly, the ship's main screen flashed white. A wave of light spread across every vessel in both fleets, human and Vesari, every soldier, every captain, every mind was touched. Then they saw it. Visions flowed into their thoughts. The forgotten moon, the mirror of memory, the broken Vesari. Code, the false message from Salek, the pain in Nerea's heart, the strength in Terran's voice. They saw the truth. Ryler gasped. He saw Terran not as a captive, but as a bridge. He saw Nerea not as a queen of power, but a leader of peace. His heart pounded. Then the light faded. Sir, said a young officer beside him. What do we do now? Ryler didn't answer at first. He looked at the screen again. The Vesari ships had stopped firing. Even Salek's fleet had frozen. Then he gave the order. Stand down. All ships. Do not fire. On the Vesari flagship, Salek stood in silence. His eyes had seen the same truth. His lie had been exposed. Round him, his captains lowered their weapons. One of them turned to him. She spoke truth. You tried to deceive both sides. Salek did not speak. He simply turned away. Back on Nerea's ship, Terran collapsed. The memory link had taken much of his strength. He lay on the floor, breathing slowly. Nerea knelt beside him. You did it, she said softly. He opened his eyes. Did they see? Yes, she said. They saw everything. The ship's lights returned to normal. A message came through. This is Captain Ryler. Queen Nerea, we request a meeting. No weapons. Only peace. Terran smiled. They listened. Nerea nodded. The stars have changed, but the battle was not over. Salek still held power in the Vesari court, and not all humans would trust what they had seen. Some feared the unknown. Others still believed in war. Taren stood slowly. Then, we keep going. We don't stop now. Nerea helped him stand. We walked the path together. Outside, the stars watched silently. The great fleets had come to fight. Now, they turned away from war. But far away, in dark places, new plans were already being made. Peace had begun, but it would need to be defended. And Terran was no longer just a miner. He was a symbol, a voice, a light between two worlds. Terran stood in the heart of the Vesari sanctuary. The walls around him glowed with soft colors. The chamber was silent, except for the gentle hum of ancient machines. Queen Nerea stood beside him, her hands folded in front of her. This place is called the Memory Chamber, she said quietly. It is one of the oldest places in our history. Terran looked around. The room had no sharp edges. Everything was smooth, round, and glowing. Symbols floated in the air like mist. In the center was a wide circular pool of light. What does it do? Terran asked. It shows truth. Nerea replied, not just with the eyes, with the heart. She walked to the pool and held out her hand. Long ago, our ancestors used this place to pass on knowledge. Memory was not stored in books. It was stored in light and shared from mind to mind. Terran stepped forward slowly. The closer he got, the warmer the air became. Nerea looked at him with calm eyes. If you enter the memory pool, it will open. The past, you may see things that will change you. Terran nodded. I'm ready. He stepped into the pool. Light rose around him like mist. It touched his skin, then wrapped around him. His breath slowed. His eyes closed, and then the memories came. He stood in another time. Before him was a great hall made of crystal. The air was full of music. Vesari people walked in peace. They smiled. They sang. They worked together. He saw himself, though not exactly the same. He was taller, with long black hair and golden armor. He stood beside a younger Nerea. Her eyes were full of hope. They stood before a crowd. He spoke in the Vesari language, and though Terran had never learned it, he understood every word. We are not born to rule others. We are born to protect. The crowd cheered. He saw moments of love, moments of sorrow, and then war. Ships falling from the sky, fire in the stars, a temple burned. Nerea, crying, held the man who looked like Terran. He was dying. You must return, she whispered in that memory. One day, the stars will bring you back, and then silence. Terran gasped as he returned to the present. He stumbled out of the memory pool, and Nerea caught him. You saw it, she said softly. He nodded, his face pale. I was there. I saw my past life. I died protecting peace. You were the guardian of light, she said. A voice that stood between war and hope. Terran sat down. So I was born again on Earth. Without memory. Until now. Yes, Nerea said. Your soul remembered what your mind could not. Terran looked up. Then this is not just about blood or DNA. This is about something greater. She nodded. It is about the soul. The bond between our worlds. You are not just the bridge. You are the start of something new. Suddenly, a soft alarm rang through the chamber. A Vesari officer rushed in. My queen, we have a message from Earth Command. Nerea stood. Play it. A screen appeared in the air. Captain Ryler's face appeared, serious but calm. The Council of Earth has agreed to open a peace meeting. 1 human, 1 Vesari, neutral space. 3 days. Terran smiled. It's working. They want peace. But Nerea's face was not. Smiling. I'm glad, she said. But not all will be. Far away, in the Vesari capital. Salak stood before his supporters. He was not finished. The queen has betrayed our ways, he said. She bows to the humans. She trusts one voice. Over the voice of the court, the hall was quiet. Then one elder spoke. She has not brought war. She brought peace. Salak's eyes flashed. She has brought weakness. If we do not act now, we will become servants of Earth. He raised a hand, and a new plan appeared on the screen behind him. The human peace meeting is a trap. We must strike first, a secret. Fleet is already moving. They will attack during the talks and blame the humans for it. A few in the room stepped back. This could start a full war. Salak looked at them. It has already started. We only choose the winner. Back on the ship, Terran prepared for the journey to the peace meeting. He wore a simple gray suit with a small symbol of both Earth and Vesari carved on the front. Nerea handed him a small crystal. This holds part of the memory chamber, she said. If they doubt you, show them this. Let them see. Terran held it in his hand. Will you come with me? She shook her head. This time, they must see you. Alone, not as a guest of the queen, but as a voice of both worlds. Terran understood. He stepped into the small transport ship and looked at her one last time. Thank you, he said. She smiled. No matter what happens, remember you are not alone. As the ship left the hangar, Nerea turned to her guards. Prepare the fleet. If someone tries to stop the peace, we will be ready. As Terran's ship traveled toward the meeting point, a small black vessel followed silently, hidden, cold, ready to fire. Inside it, a loyal soldier of Salak prepared the weapon. Strike during the first word, the order said. Blame the humans, begin the war. But Terran didn't know. He only knew that peace was possible, and he was going to try, no matter the risk. The peace meeting was held on a space station floating between Earth and Vesari territory. It had no weapons, no armies, and no flags, only one large hall made of glass and steel. Stars shone above and below. It was the first time a human and a Vesari leader would meet without guards or barriers. Taren stepped off his small ship alone. He wore the crystal pendant Nerea gave him. His heart was beating fast, but his mind was clear. He had seen the past. He knew what this moment meant. Across the hall, a Vesari elder entered. She was old, with silver lines running across her skin. Her name was Selen, a respected leader who had not taken a side in the growing conflict. They stood at the center of the hall, facing each other. No soldiers, no weapons, only two voices. Taren bowed first. I came in peace, Selen nodded slowly. Then let us speak as friends for the first few minutes. Their words were calm. Taren explained the memory chamber. He spoke of the genetic key, the shared past, and the hope for unity. He opened the crystal pendant and let the light shine. It rose into the air, forming images of the forgotten moon, the visions. In the broken Vesari code healing beside his own, Selen watched in silence. You speak with honesty, she said, and your memories carry the old truth. I see no hate. In you, Taren stepped closer. We are not enemies, not Earth, not Vesari. We're a broken story that needs a new page. But far above the station, the dark ship that followed him was moving into place. Inside, a soldier pressed a glowing panel. Target locked, the voice said. The missile was small but strong enough to destroy the station's core. The order was clear: strike during the first agreement. Make it look like a human attack. Force war to begin. The soldier placed his finger on the button. Then his screen turned white. A strange signal entered the ship's system. The controls stopped. The engine shut down. The lights faded. A new voice filled the room. Stand down. It was Queen Nerea. Her secret guard fleet had followed Taren's ship in silence. Now they surrounded the attacker. You will not harm him, she said. Not while I still breathe. The soldier tried to respond, but his screen went black. He was trapped. The attack had failed. Back at the peace station, Selen's communicator lit up. She read the message from Nerea. Her eyes widened. You were nearly killed, she said to Taren. Someone tried to stop this peace. Taren stepped back. Who? Selen looked at him. Someone who fears what you are. Then she did something unexpected. She bowed. Today, I do not see a human or a Vesari. I see something new. A bridge, a future. I will take your words to our council. Taren stood in silence. He did not expect her to kneel. Slowly, he stepped forward and bowed as well. I will speak to Earth. They must see what I've seen. In that quiet room, under the stars, two different worlds showed each other respect. The message spread fast out across Earth. News stations played the moment again and again. A human and a Vesari bowing to one another. Not in fear, not in defeat, but in peace. On the Vesari homeworld, many were shocked, but others felt hope still. Salak was not finished. In a dark hall, he stood before his secret council. They stopped the strike, one whispered, and the people saw them kneel. Another said. Salak raised his hand. We do not stop because of one meeting. The human is still a threat. His voice is growing. He turned to the others. Then we silenced his voice. Taren returned to Nerea's ship the next day. The moment he stepped on board, she ran to him and embraced him. You are safe, she said. Thanks to you, he replied. They tried to stop it, but you stood firm, she said. And they listened. Taren looked at her face. Her eyes were tired but full of light. We have to be careful, he said. Salak won't stop. He fears what this peace means. Nerea nodded. Because peace means change, and people like him fear losing control. Taren stepped back and looked at the stars. The council will meet in 5 days, he said. Earth wants to open talks, real talks, but they want both of us there. Nerea smiled gently. Then we will go. Together. She took his hand. We will not kneel to fear. We will walk forward side by side. But something in the stars shifted. A message came through, a warning from deep space. A Vesari scout ship had gone silent. Then another. And another. TAREN turned to Nerea. What is it? She stared at the screen. Someone is moving. Someone. With power. He looked at her. Is it Salak? I don't know, she said. But we may be running out of time. The stars were calm. But calm did not always mean safety. Peace had begun. But peace needed protection. And their greatest trial was still to come. The stars looked calm. But the silence was not peaceful. Ships had vanished in the outer regions. Vesari scouts were missing. Earth satellites picked up strange energy signals near the old borderlines. Something was coming, and both sides felt it. Inside the Unity Station, Terran stood by the main window. The planet below glowed in soft blue. Behind him, human and Vesari engineers worked together, building a hall for the first joint council. It was the beginning of something new. But Terran's mind was uneasy. Nerea entered the room quietly. You still feel it, don't you? She asked. TAREN nodded. Yes, this piece is strong. But there's something dark waiting in the shadows. Nerea stood beside him. Salak has not spoken since the failed strike. That is not a good sign. Terran turned to face her. He's planning something. We need to be ready. Just then, a message came through. A human officer ran to them. Emergency signal. Coming from Vesari space, he said. It's an open broadcast. The screen lit up. Salak's face appeared. His voice was cold and sharp. You dream of peace, he said. But peace is weakness. We were strong before this human arrived. Now we bow to him, to her. I say no more. The screen showed hundreds of ships behind him, all moving toward the Unity Station. This ends now, Salak said. We will erase this mistake, and the stars will remember who ruled them first. The screen went dark. TAREN looked at Nerea. How many ships? Too many to stop with force. She answered. TAREN paused. Then we don't fight with weapons. We fight with truth. Nerea blinked. How? Terran touched the crystal pendant round his neck. We activate the accord, he said. Let every soldier, every captain, every citizen see the truth. Nerea frowned. The accord nearly took your life last time. It pulls from your memory, from your body. It will be worse now. I know, Terran said quietly. But if I do nothing, everything we built will burn. Nerea held his hand. Then I will not leave your side. They walked together to the heart of the station. The accord stood in a quiet chamber, glowing with soft white light. Engineers opened the control ring. Terran stepped forward and placed his hand on the stone surface. His crystal pendant floated above the platform and melted into light, the chamber. HUMMED. A wave of light spread across the station, then across space. It reached Earth. It reached the Vesari homeworld, and it reached Salak's war fleet. One by one, ships slowed. Lights inside dimmed. Crews stared at screens filled with moving visions. They saw Terran as a child, alone, quiet, looking at stars. They saw Nerea in her youth, learning to lead with care and hope. They saw the ancient Vesari who once dreamed of peace and the deep connection between their species and humanity. They saw love, war, loss, and unity. They saw fear become trust, and they saw a future where both sides stood side by side, stronger than ever before. On Salak's ship, officers fell silent. One of them turned to him. Is this real? Salak shouted. It's a trick. Another officer stood. No, I feel it. I remember. We were meant to walk this path. Salak raised a weapon. You are fools. But before he could fire, the Accord's light surrounded him. It showed his own memories, his pride, his jealousy, his fear of change. He dropped the weapon. Back at the station, Terran collapsed. His skin was pale, his breathing weak. Nerea caught him and lowered him gently to the floor. You gave too much, she whispered. Taren opened his eyes slowly. Was it enough? She smiled softly. More than enough. Outside, Salak's fleet began to pull back. One by one, ships turned. Some began broadcasting a new message, not of war, but of peace. Later that day, Earth and Vesari leaders arrived at the Unity Station. The council chamber was completed. A long round table stood in the center. Human and Vesari flags hung side by side. Ta or En sat beside Nerea, his body still weak but his spirit strong. The Earth representative stood. Today, she said, we begin not as two, but as one. The Vesari elder followed. Today, we remember not what we were, but what we can become. The first vote of the new council passed. A united alliance would be formed. Trade, defense, exploration, and culture would be shared. A joint fleet would guard the stars not from each other, but from the unknown. Terran rose slowly. He faced the council. I was once just a miner, he said, alone in space, not special. But I was found, not just by Nerea, but by something greater. A purpose. He looked around the room. We are not here by chance. We are here because the stars waited for us to wake up. Now we must build a future worth the cost it took to get here. Nerea stepped forward. He was the one I was meant to find, but he is not mine alone. He belongs to all of us. Because he chose to give instead of take, to speak instead of strike. That is true strength. The room stood in silence, then filled with quiet claps and nods. Outside the station, Earth and Vesari ships flew side by side. In the stars above, there was peace. And in the arms of the one who once searched for him across light years, Terran rested at last, not as a soldier, not as a savior, but as a bridge between two worlds that had finally learned to walk together.